Worst periods to be alive in history. Let's go, dude. There have been
moments in Earth's history where being alive was almost impossible. Periods where the planet turned against everything on it and survival became the most important part. These
Yeah, if y'all think that being lucky to be alive, because you are lucky to be alive, but being lucky right now to be alive is crazy. If you survived an entire life, which was probably like 30 years back in this time, you were lucky.
are the 5 worst times to have been alive on Earth, starting with the least terrible and ending with the one that almost ended everything. At number 5, the Ice Age, 20,000 years ago. If you were a human being during the last glacial maximum, the planet looked nothing like it does
I'll think
today.
about it.
Ice sheets 2 miles thick covered most of North America
I'll think about what to watch after this video.
and Northern Europe. Global temperatures were about 6 degrees Celsius colder than today, and the sea level was so low that you could walk from Russia to Alaska without getting your feet wet.
Oh my god. That is crazy.
Most of the planet was either frozen or drying out because the ice locked up so much water that rainfall dropped everywhere. Your daily goal was to survive. You lived in a group of maybe 30 to 50 people, and you wore animal hides stitched together with bone needles, and your home was either a cave or a shelter made from mammoth bones and skin.
Yeah, and y'all don't got no phones. You're gonna have to hunt for your own food. Your parents probably raised you until you're like 8, and then you have to go figure it out. No computers.
Food meant hunting animals that were actively trying to kill you. Woolly mammoths weighed around 6 tons.
But you gotta think. And I've got, like, tell me if I'm, like, stupid. Alright? Just kidding, because I know you are. Because I know y'all are gonna call me stupid immediately after I say that. Humans are the scariest creatures to ever walk the earth. What's good, Zephyr? Humans are the scariest species in the entire history of the world. Easily. I'm live right now, but I want to stop and say hi. What's good, Zephyr? What's good? What's good, chat? What's good, Zephyr chat? What's good? How we doing? Nut job. Y'all are just wrong. Y'all are wrong. Humans? I'm dead serious. I'm dead fucking serious. Humans are fat. Okay, bro. Yeah, okay, I get it. Some humans are fat. Like, that brings me to my next question. Next question. Answer me honestly, okay? Answer me honestly. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. This is not a joke right now. If you, depending, okay, let's say if you're like under the age of like 15, if your dad got into a fight with a chimpanzee, who would win? Not a gorilla, a chimpanzee. They like average at about like 5'8" or something, like 180 pounds or something like that. Okay, all right, okay. So you guys aren't okay. So you guys, good. I would fucking murder a chimpanzee in a fight. 1v1, no rules. I am mauling a chimpanzee. I'm dead serious. If you put me in a cage against a chimpanzee, an average weighing chimpanzee and height chimpanzee, I am going to come out of there. I will win that fight. I would win that fight 9.5 times out of 10. The only half chance that I would lose is if it launches at me and like gouges both of my eyes out and I actually can't see it. Not even Timmy Tough Knuckles. Anybody could beat a chimp. Anybody can. Anybody of like average weight and size can beat a chimpanzee. Any human. Any human of average weight and size could beat a chimpanzee in a fight. I guarantee it. Unless you mentally are not in that fight. Unless you are mentally like, oh my god, I'm going to die. That's when you're going to lose that fight. But I believe 9 times out of 10 that a human being would maul that chimp. I'm just saying. Back to the video.
Cave lions were bigger than any lion today. Short-faced bears stood over 3 meters tall on their hind legs.
And we hunted them. And we killed them too, huh? We killed them. We killed mammoths. We killed tigers. We killed bears. We are better. Humans are just better.
On you on open ground.
Can you do something else? No. Now.
Cave hyenas hunted in packs, and you were going after these things with sharpened sticks and rocks because...
And we won, too. And humans won, too. And humans won.
Unfortunately, that's all you had. But the winter was the real killer. In Northern Europe and Asia,
Never playing
regularly
Minecraft Bedrock.
dropped below minus 30 degrees Celsius. The sun was up for maybe 6 hours a day if you were lucky. Finding enough calories to keep your
6 hours a day.
body warm meant eating roughly 3,000 to 4,000 calories daily, which is pretty difficult when most of the landscape is frozen and the animals you need to eat are better hunters than you are. If the predators didn't get you, infection probably would. A cut from a flint tool,
that is fair. The infection was probably really bad.
Bone from a fall.
Because they don't got doctors over there. They don't got doctors back in that time. Nope. You just gotta wait. The only thing that I think that they would do if you had a really visible infection on your arm, cut it off. I'm not even kidding neither. Like, if you had an infection on your chest, you can't even do anything. That's right next to your heart and your vital organs.
A bite from something you were trying to eat, any of these could kill you because antibiotics wouldn't exist for another 19,900 years. So your life expectancy was somewhere around 30 to 35 years, and most people weren't...
He looks like Jesus. That's funny. That's funny.
That lucky. But at least humans survived this. They adapted, invented better tools, mastered fire, and eventually the ice melted and the world warmed up. The Ice Age was brutal, but it is nothing compared to everything else on this list. At number 4, the Late Jurassic. 150 million years ago.
God damn.
Forget about being human for this one because we didn't exist yet.
We literally mined. We actually mined and crafted.
Mammal. Maybe the size
That's how we
of a
won.
little shrew, living in a world that was not built for you. The Late Jurassic was the golden age of dinosaurs, and everything was massive. The average temperature was around 20 degrees Celsius globally, there was no ice anywhere on the planet, and the continents were arranged in ways that would make a modern map completely useless. North America alone had over 40 known...
Oh my god, we are not bringing back the massive meme, are we? The ninja, we are not bringing that back, are we? Oh my lord.
Dinosaur species living at the same time. Allosaurus, the dominant predator, weighed around 1.7 tons and accounted for 75% of all carnivore fossils found in the Morrison Formation. But Allosaurus wasn't even the biggest predator around. Saurophaganax weighed up to 5 tons.
Yeah, say that 5 times fast.
Torvosaurus weighed around 4, and their...
Big Kev, how were the dinosaurs? You asking me like I have a clue. Bro, what are you talking about? Wait, I just scrolled down. Oh.
There were at least 10 different species of theropod predators sharing the same ecosystem that could eat you in seconds. And the herbivores were no safer to be around either. Sauropods like Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus weighed around 13 to 70 tons and could step on you the way you'd step on an ant. But the droughts made things even worse. The late Jurassic experienced severe dry seasons where water sources shrank and every animal in the ecosystem crowded around whatever was left. Fossil evidence
What he said, didn't you live as long as the dinosaurs?
from these drought periods shows extreme levels of cannibalism among theropods, predators attacking other predators, and scavenging on a scale that turned watering holes into killing grounds.
Oh my
Mammals lived in
God.
the shadow of animals that could crush them by accident, waiting for a chance that wouldn't come until an asteroid cleared the entire board. At number 3, the End Cretaceous, 66 million years ago. This is the one that everyone knows about, but
Cretaceous.
most people don't understand how bad it actually was. An asteroid roughly 12 kilometers wide hit the Yucatan Peninsula at around 20 kilometers per second. The energy released was billions of times more powerful than any nuclear weapon ever
Yacht.
built. If you were anywhere within about 1,500 kilometers of the impact, you were dead immediately. The
God.
shockwave flattened everything. Beyond that radius, things
The guy has a
didn't get
unibrow.
much better.
Good for
They just
him.
got slower. The
He
impact
chill.
launched billions of tons of rock and dust into the atmosphere, which blocked sunlight globally for years. Then, the sulfur from vaporized
For years.
rock mixed with water vapor and came down as acid rain that poisoned water sources across entire continents. The food chain collapsed from the bottom up. Plants couldn't photosynthesize without sunlight, so they all just died. Herbivores starved because the plants were gone and the predators followed. And the oceans weren't really any better. The acid
How the fuck? Yo, imagine acid rain. Acid rain? What do you even do?
rain and temperature changes killed phytoplankton, which is the base of the entire marine food web. Wildfires spread across multiple continents in the days following the impact, triggered by superheated debris raining back down through the atmosphere. And the smoke from those fires added to the dust that was already blocking the sun. For months after the impact, the sky was essentially just black. The temperature swings were so extreme that regions went from tropical to near freezing in weeks, and anything that
Damn.
couldn't burrow underground or survive underwater had almost no chance. About 75% of all species
Damn.
on Earth went extinct, including non-avian dinosaur, every pterosaur, every marine reptile, and most of the large animals
Thank God.
that had dominated the planet. for
You
over
know what?
100
You know what? With the marine life animals, thank God. Because I did not want to deal with a fucking 50-foot, like, I don't even know how big, bro, some big, giant, like, fish that could, like, maul you. That's not like a shark. Bro.
million years. The animals that survived were mostly small because they could burrow underground, eat dead organic matter, or go longer periods without food. Mammals, birds, crocodilians, turtles, small lizards, and insects, they made it through. But the recovery took millions of years. And
That's
for the
crazy.
species that were alive during the actual impact and its aftermath, every single day was a question of whether there would be anything left to eat the next day. At number 2, the Toba supervolcano, 74,000 years ago. This one is specifically about humans.
Damn, he's
And it's the
jacked. Dude was jacked. That's kind of what I look like.
closest our species ever came to extinction. Around 74,000 years ago, the Toba supervolcano in what is now Indonesia erupted with a force that makes every other volcanic eruption in human history look like a campfire.
I'm so jacked.
It launched over 2,800 cubic kilometers of material into the atmosphere, which is roughly enough to bury the entire United States under a layer of ash. The eruption triggered a volcanic winter that lasted somewhere between 6 and 10 years. Global temperatures dropped by as much as 15 degrees Celsius. And same as with the asteroid, the sunlight was blocked, which killed plants and made predators starve. But unlike 66 million years ago, this time we were now living through it. We were already a relatively small population of early Homo sapiens living in Africa and possibly
Yeah, the worst periods to be alive in history. Yeah, that is what it is. What you talking about, bro? It done says it right there. Yes, bro.
parts of Asia, and we got hit with the worst climate crisis any human had ever faced. The total human population dropped to somewhere between 3,000 and 10,000 individuals, trying to survive in a world where
10,000 people in the entire world? Oh my god.
sun barely came through and there was nothing to eat. Every single person alive today is descended from that tiny group of survivors, including you. The genetic bottleneck is so tight that humans have less genetic diversity than most primate species, and Toba is the leading explanation for why. If you were alive during those years, you spent your entire existence searching for whatever you could find in a dying landscape while your group got smaller and smaller
Holy
every
shit.
season. Hunting was nearly impossible because the animals you depended on were starving too, and many of them simply died out in your area. You ate shellfish, roots, insects, whatever was left on the coastlines that still had any life to them at all. The fact
GG.
that anyone survived is genuinely difficult to explain, and some researchers think it all came down to a handful of coastal populations in southern Africa that could still access marine food sources when everything inland was gone. And at
That is actually my body type right there. That's what I look like. If I took off my shirt, bro, that's exactly what I look like.
still access marine food sources when everything inland was gone. And at number 1,
Why would I take it off, you weirdo? Why would I take off my shirt, you weirdo?
the Permian extinction, 252 million years ago. This is the big one. The worst thing that has
Even
ever
if I
happened
did,
to
is
life
that a
on
problem?
Earth. Scientists call it the Great Dying, and the name
The Great
is
Dying.
not dramatic enough for what actually happened. 252 million years ago, a volcanic system in what is now Siberia, known as the Siberian Traps, started erupting. And it wasn't a single volcano. It was a volcanic province the size of Western Europe that poured lava across millions of square kilometers for roughly a million years. The eruptions released an estimated 100,000 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, along with massive amounts of sulfur dioxide, methane, and
my
other
God.
gases that turned the planet into something barely recognizable. Global temperatures rose by about 10 degrees Celsius. The oceans warmed up
Bro,
so
what the
much
fuck happened in the world? God damn.
they couldn't hold dissolved oxygen anymore, turning vast stretches of deep water into dead zones. Hydrogen sulfide, a gas that is toxic to most life, started bubbling up from these oxygen-starved oceans into the atmosphere. The ozone layer was damaged by the chemical reactions, allowing increased ultraviolet radiation to reach the surface, which mutated plant spores and killed vegetation across entire continents. The numbers are almost impossible to process. About 96% of all marine species disappeared. 70% of terrestrial vertebrates went extinct. Even insects, which had survived every other mass extinction in Earth's history, lost more than half of their families. The entire ecosystem didn't
Yeah,
just
everyone
collapse,
was dying.
it ceased to exist. Coral reefs vanished completely and didn't recover for 10 million years. Forests disappeared from the tropics and were replaced by fungal blooms feeding on the dead wood. If you were alive during the Permian extinction, here's what your world would have looked like. The air was hot, thick with CO2, and in coastal areas, poisonous from hydrogen sulfide seeping out of the ocean. The sky had a strange greenish tint from all the gas, and the smell was unbearable. The water was warm and oxygen-pleated, killing everything that couldn't surface to breathe. Rivers and lakes turned stagnant and toxic. Acid rain stripped vegetation from the land until entire landscapes were just bare rock and mud. The soil eroded into the landscape in massive quantities, further smothering marine life. The temperatures were so extreme that in equatorial regions, nothing complex could survive on land at all, with surface temperatures reaching over 50 degrees Celsius in some areas, and the only habitable zones were pushed toward the poles, which had gone from frozen to temperate. The recovery took somewhere between 5 and 10 million years. For context, the entire existence of the genus Homo, from the earliest human ancestor to you watching this right now, spans about 2.8 million years. The Earth was essentially broken for at least twice as long as humans have existed. Life did eventually come back, and the survivors went on to become the ancestors of dinosaurs, mammals, and everything else that followed. But
That's
for
kinda
those
sweet,
millions
though.
of years during and after the Great Dying, the planet was as close to sterile as it has ever been since life first appeared over 3 billion years ago. These were the 5 different ways the planet tried to end
Oh my
everything on it,
God!
but somehow.
Ew! I don't even want to. That was disgusting at the end there.